today I'm going to talk about sensitivities in cases. And when I mean sensitivities, I'm certainly not referring to sensitivity analysis in economic modeling. What I'm referring to is certain topics that you should never, ever, 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 to the power 8, discuss in a case interview. And the topics are politics, religion, ethnicity, culture, and television, I would say as well. And I put in your Jersey show because it gives you an example of what I'm trying to talk about. And the reason why is simple, right? I have a lot of situations with candidates whom they will become comfortable with me, and then they'll start making comments about politics, religion, ethnicity, culture, bad mouthing certain celebrities and so on, because they feel, for whatever reason, that they are comfortable making these discussions. Now, I always point out to a candidate, you shouldn't do that. And then their first response is, don't worry, Michael, I'm never going to do this in a real interview. And then I think to myself very carefully, well, the first thing you have to understand is that it's about demonstrated competency. If I don't see you not doing it, I don't know if you're not going to do it in an interview. For all I know, if you're doing it with me, you're going to do it with the interview. That's the first thing to understand. It's about demonstrated competency. As much as you tell me you're never going to do it in an interview, I don't know that. Right? Remember, I don't know you. Sure, we speak many times, but I actually don't know how you're going to respond to an interview. And neither do you, because you've never been in an interview. And even if you've been in an interview previously, you don't know how you've changed since then. The other point I always try to raise to candidates, which they never understand, is that if you raise it in an interview with me, certainly at the beginning of the training, you didn't make those comments, but somewhere in the training, you decided you became comfortable enough with me to make these comments. How do you know that during your discussions with an interviewer, you're not going to also become comfortable and make these comments? It's going to happen. And candidates say, hey, it will never happen. Don't worry, I'll never do this. I don't know why. Don't make a big deal about it. It'll never happen. But it is a big deal. Because if you are going to become comfortable with me and do this, you're going to become comfortable with someone else and do it. And that's what I am worried about. I'm not worried about the fact that you have this religious viewpoint. It's irrelevant to me. I'm worried about the fact that you are deciding to tell me what your religious viewpoint is, right? That's a problem. Religion, politics, ethnicity, culture, and commentary on celebrities are areas you should never go into. So people always like to tell me, they always make a comment like, Snooki is the worst of the worst. She's an affront to culture. She is, a disgrace and so on. And they love doing it. And I always think to myself, why would someone do that, right? Are they trying to make it seem that they're intelligent by saying Snooki is an idiot? Are they trying to show that they belong to some upper class of society, that they don't watch these things? And I don't know what the reason is, but the point is, I don't think you can insult someone you don't know, right? And even if you knew the person, you still couldn't insult them because it's just not proper etiquette. So when people do these things, they feel they are enhancing their profile. I can assure you right now, when you make commentary on someone you don't know, and certainly someone you don't know very well, you immediately damage your credibility in my eyes. Because you're making a comment on something you don't know, and you're putting in your personal opinions. But more than that, to me, it sounds as if you're introducing a sort of a class structure, which I never like. So don't make these comments. Do never make comments about celebrities. Let's talk about politics, religion, ethnicity, and culture, right? These things come up, and not even in negative ways. I do think on the Jersey Shore side, Kim Kardashian, people make mean comments about these celebrities, and they're intending to be mean. And I actually use that to judge candidates heavily. I can look at your profile and immediately draw conclusions about it based on the way you interact and comments you make about celebrities. So don't do those things. There's nothing you could say about a celebrity that is going to improve your profile. And you'd rather not say anything. Ethnicity and culture, however, are things that people, I think, say without meaning to be harmful. I've had situations where I do recall someone making a comment about Roma people in Romania. The Roma people are the gypsies. They've been displaced. I mean, they're really one of the unknown, marginalized ethnic groups of the world. I mean, they've got low literacies. They have no country. They're treated very badly. And I remember a Romanian candidate was making a joke about, I went to an elite school, I'm not Roma. And I think he was definitely kidding around, right? But I always thought to myself, what if I am somehow related to this group of people? He doesn't know that, right? Most people don't know my ethnicity when they speak to me. They just assume it's European, but they don't know where in Europe I'm from. For all you know, I could be related to these people, right? For all you know, my wife could be related to these people. For all you know, my friends could be related to these people. For all you know, I could be sympathizing with these people. For all you know, I could be coming from some other ethnic minority that has been marginalized and feel sympathy for this ethnic minority. So the point is, do not make comments about cultures like this, even if you mean it in the most careless manner. You don't mean anything negative. And the reality is, people, when they get into a comfortable situation, they make sexually dismissive comments, they make ethnically rude comments, they make culturally insensitive comments, and they make it as a joke, because when you're in what you think is a safe group of friends, you think it's okay to make these comments, you're not going to be judged for it. And when you get comfortable with someone, your mindset switches and you think, well, this seems like I'm talking to my friends that I chat to on a Saturday evening, so maybe I can make these comments. You never do that. I have had one client removed from the training for what I thought was an ethnically charged comment that they made. And there was no room to do that. And people who work with us know that we take the training of females very seriously. I mean, we actively develop female candidates. 50% of the people in our program must be female. So making sexual comments doesn't go fly very well with us. If it's a joke, I can understand, but I mean, I'm always judging you when you speak to me. As your coach, I'm always judging, if you make this comment here, how are you going to react in a client situation? I'm going to give you feedback on that. So be aware of culturally insensitive comments. I think the Roma comment was insensitive because it showed me what the person thinks when they're comfortable. And I want to see what a person thinks when they're comfortable. I don't want to see how a person thinks when their guard is up. Obviously, their guard is up. They're going to be telling me what I want to hear. So the strategy we follow is to become friendly with people and see how they respond to these things. And people tell me, you know what? I shouldn't be judging them based on their personal beliefs, but I am going to judge you. I'm going to judge you not on your personal beliefs, but on how your personal beliefs influences your view of other people. And if I find that you're culturally insensitive, you make religiously inflammatory comments, those are not things that are quality attributes in a management consultant, right? You have to protect yourself against that. Same with ethnicity, right? Ethnicity is different from culture. Culture spans ethnic groups. Ethnicity is a very, very dangerous area to play in. And I do find candidates make these mistakes often. I mean, one classic example I use is where a Singapore candidate from Stanford once made a comment to a Thai student about how Singapore is the hub for Southeast Asia. I mean, that candidate never meant anything bad at all. Totally innocent comment, but my God, that created enough problems for her, right? You don't want to ever make these comments, right? Whenever you're interviewing people, never get comfortable. And it's a fact. Human nature is we make jokes about things that would be repulsive to others. We make jokes about murder, which I can never understand. We make jokes about murder. There are stand-up comedians who build their entire acts around murder, and we all laugh about it. There are female comedians today who've built their acts around rape, which I can never understand. And people laugh about it because just because a female is talking about rape doesn't make it funny, right? It is still something that is terrible. And the fact that someone is laughing about it doesn't make it right. Ever. And it's human nature when you're in a protective environment to joke about certain things that you would never joke about in a public setting. It is human nature. Everyone does it. But you have to understand when to do it and when not to do it. And the point is, when you are in a consulting situation, you never ever discuss these things. I know candidates say they never do it, but I can assure you, when a candidate first starts speaking to me, they're also never intending to do it because I'm a former partner, but eventually they become comfortable and they will do it. And all I want to make sure is that you never reach that point where you feel so comfortable with a consultant that you do these things. And I have candidates who send me smiley faces and I ask them, do you speak to everyone like this? And they say, yes, I have these very relaxed conversations with the recruiters. And I always tell them, make sure you never cross that line. Ever. What you do in your personal life is one thing. What you do in a professional setting is totally different, right? Let's talk about politics and religion. For some reason, people think politics is something it's okay to give your opinion on. So Jersey Shore, people think it's okay to give your opinion, but it's almost invariably negative. And they think it's good to be negative about Snooki. It's good to say bad things about Kim Kardashian. It's never good. Politics is another area where people think it's okay to give their opinions. When you choose to join a political party, no matter how analytical you are, if you read comments in newspapers and so on, it is so emotionally charged. And I never allow people to comment on political parties. The only thing I've ever told one candidate once, and I remember this very clearly because he's a member of the Mormon family, right? I told him that, I'm a consultant, so, you can guess who I support, right? And then I said, I'm sure that Mitt Romney will make a good president. That's about it. That's as far as I've ever gone to give my political aspirations to anyone. Even people that are investors in firms consulting don't know my political aspirations or my political beliefs because I believe that's personal. I will tell you what I believe. And to be honest, I support a political party not because I like the people, but because they support my beliefs. Right? And that's the same with everyone. No matter what people say about Barack Obama and Mitt Romney and the President of France, the President of the UK, they will justify why they support that party because of their beliefs. If Barack Obama is a liberal and they're a liberal, they will tell you wonderful things about Barack Obama and they'll find a way to support him. If Mitt Romney is a conservative, strong on supporting businesses, if I'm strong on businesses, I will find a way to back whatever he's saying and find a way to like him. And that's the way people are. The point is never bring up your political beliefs. And candidates do this. They bring up their political beliefs. I had a candidate going through a screening call with me, telling me about why she supports Mitt Romney and why she believes is the best for the United States and why she spent an internship working on his campaign and why Barack Obama and the Democrats are going to, you shouldn't say wreck America, but she was giving me her viewpoint. I thought it was a very bad interview. I'm not interested in her opinions. Spouting the political line or the family line doesn't work. So stay away from politics. Religion, my God, religion is a contentious issue. And let me tell you how religion comes up, right? I did a case recently. I was in Kazakhstan and I was asked by one of our executive clients to help their nephew prepare for case interviews in the United States. I said, fine, I'll be happy to do it. He was in Kazakhstan visiting families. I said, no problem, I'm going to be there. He was also doing his internship as well in Kazakhstan. So I said, okay, I'll talk about it. So I gave him an abortion case, right? A case about whether a pharmaceutical company needs to market a new pill with abortion. Now, the case was not touching on the, obviously the rights of fetuses and rights of females and Roe versus Wade and all these things. It didn't touch on any of that. The case was really about whether the drug should be released into the market, and it was really about economics. But the candidate was very uncomfortable, right? Really uncomfortable. And I asked him, midway through, you seems as if you really don't want to push this through. Why? And then he went in, well, I believe the point we're not touching here is whether this is right. And I think, abortion is wrong, and I think you're killing a baby, and blah, blah, blah. Now, I respect his personal views, but there's no place for his personal views when you're dealing with a client. When you deal with a client, you subject your personal views to second-tier status. If a client is interested in releasing a pill that helps with abortion, you check your personal views at the door, and if they're built by religion, that's fine. I have total respect for your religion, but I have total lack of respect when you choose to allow your religion to sway the economic decision that needs to be made, right? The point is whether you have a religious viewpoint that does not support religion, that's a totally different problem. The point is the law says that a corporation or a person in the United States at least can have this choice, and that's the law. You have to obey the law. And this candidate went out I wouldn't say a tantrum. They were not disrespectful about it, but they were allowing their personal viewpoints to sway opinion. And candidates always say that I'm never going to attack anything from a religious viewpoint. And I always point out to them, the way your religion, politics, ethnicity, cultural viewpoints, and mainstream media viewpoints influences the interviewer's opinion of you is never the way you think it will happen, right? Candidates would never think that, for example, their comments on Kim Kardashian and Snooki Palooza, whatever her name is going to impact my opinion of them, but it will. This candidate never thought that his viewpoint on anti-abortion and the economics of the business would rate him negatively, but it did. And I'd explained to him why I think it's going to give him a negative rating, but he never understood. He thought he's actually going to score higher points by having integrity, but that's integrity from his school of thought. The law is clear. As long as you don't break the law, I'm okay. I don't care what you do, right? Same with politics. Candidates think, well, you know what? This candidate is right. He's best for the country. I'm going to state my case and I will get points for showing initiative. You're not going to get points for showing initiative. You're going to get points for being political, and we need to be apolitical. So always remember, politics, religion, ethnicity, culture, mainstream media do not comment on it in a negative way. If you don't know anything about it, if you're not sure how to comment on it, don't comment on it. And whatever you do, if you make the comment to someone, never ever come back with the defense that I'll never do this in an interview. Because the fact that you did it with me, someone that you didn't know 2 weeks ago, means that you could do this in an interview. So the defense that you would never do this would never, ever fly.